What's up and welcome, guys, to One Oak Mentoring, the number one virtual team mentoring service, program, company, franchise of all times. How y'all guys doing today? We're back. Today, I was supposed to put this video out, but here we go. This was the last day of school. A lot of y'all, well, most of y'all don't know these kids actually go to school. They have like teachers that come out and teach them and stuff, but I'll be getting back to that. But I'm just gonna just stick with how this day went, right? So this was the last day of school. So that morning, the food truck came. As many of you know, I'm the cook or the chef. I like the word chef better. But the food truck came, and what I do is I usually get some of the residents to help me put the food up, and then I'll give them a snack as payment or something like that. So I had a few guys from the Horizon side helping me put up Horizon's food, and it was a good vibe. It was pretty early, but the guys didn't mind. They know they're going to get a snack, right? So that went pretty good, and the guys was just talking about this is the last day of school. Well, the last day of school that the teachers will come out, because they also have a summer program. But I'm gonna stay on topic, right? So I had some of the guys, help me put up food on Horizon side. Then I went back to Bridges side, and I was actually cleaning up in the back. And then, some of the guys were in there eating, but as I was putting the food up on Bridges side and cleaning up, I heard a lot of commotion going on. So I came out to the dining area, and some of the kids were clearing out, but we had this one resident. He's autistic. Sometimes we do get, children that are autistic or, with a little more highly manageable, conditions, right? I'll say that. And so he was sitting there, and then I just heard him just like sobbing, like crying, like somebody was just murdered, like, oh my God. So I'm like, what's going on with this kid? But eventually I figured out that one of the residents said something about his sibling or something like that, and he just really took it to heart. But I didn't really understand it because like they've never even seen his sibling or anything. But like I said, he's autistic, right? So maybe, I don't know how that goes, but maybe that just hurt him a little more, right? And when I say autistic, I'm probably on the severe end of autistic, right? So, I told him, don't take it too personal, to cheer up. It went in one ear, not the other, but I tried, okay? But he eventually calmed down, and the kids went down to school. The Bridges kids went to school, and today, like I said, it was the last day. So these people, not these people, but the teachers that come out, they're very caring and considerate. They do a lot of stuff for these kids, right? I like that. So what they did today is they were going to have a movie. They frequently do this, but they had a movie in the gym, and they were just going to get the popcorn for the kids, sodas, drinks, just so they can just enjoy their last day. Like, you guys know how it was being in school, your last day. And not really work to do, but you just kind of just gathering there, and sometimes they might have a movie or activity or something, right? So you guys will probably see that on the screen, but I really couldn't show too much because I try to keep these kids' faces out of the shots, right? So I just kind of can only show so much. That's why most of the shots are like just showing like their back or something like that. So yeah, I couldn't give you guys the full scope, you know what I mean? But this is the best that I can do, right? Okay. So back to the day. So, the rest of the day went kind of smooth, no major issues, nothing too much going on. So we're finishing up. Well, I'm finishing up with the cooking and things like that, right? And right before I was about to get off, because I got such an important, busy life. I'm about to get off at 3:30, and there's like a staff support, right? I'm not sure if you guys know what a staff support is, but you'll learn sooner or later. So they call it staff support, which means there's like a crisis situation going on that needs extra staff to help. So I'm like, okay, so I hear staff support, right? When they call staff support, it's over an intercom or a loudspeaker. I know that's kind of like showing my age, right? But yeah, So, but honestly, I want to say there was another staff support earlier that day, to be honest, and it was from the autistic kid. He was really having a hard time just kind of adapting. I think he had been there. I think he had been here about maybe 2 or 3 weeks at this time, right? So I come inside the milieu, and that word milieu is funny because I've never heard of the word milieu. I didn't even know that word exists until I started working at this place. So the milieu is like your living room or your den or something like that, right? Right. I didn't know either. So I come in the milieu, and there are, the kids are sitting in the milieu, and they're sitting quietly because they have to sit quietly during the staff support. And there's two other staff sitting down in chairs, kind of like, I guess, like sitting in front of the chairs in front of the door, so nobody could just like bust out, right? So, that just gave me, an idea that maybe this kid is like, very combative, trying to get out, or something like that, right? So, so I went inside the dorm with the resident, right? And it was the autistic kid, right? The one I told you about from earlier. So I go in the dorm. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Well, no, I didn't say that. I could clearly see what was going on. Like, this kid was like stomping, marching, like strutting around, just complaining, like, why won't they let me out? Why won't they let me out? And I'm just like, goodness gracious, man, But I'm just kind of silent because, I don't mind inputting, having input during these crisis situations. But most of the time, if I get there later, there's somebody already talking to them, and, they're a seasoned staff, right? So I'm just kind of just sitting there just for support, right? Because I'm very supportive, you know what I mean? So I'm just sitting there, and, I'm just listening to them, tell the kid, things are going to get better, just to calm down. We had this one staff. He was real good. He was like diverting his attention, right? Which is definitely a great tactic, especially when you're dealing with kids with maybe like severe autism or something, right? Because this kid had been having staff supports and in trouble all week, right? So the staff was like talking about something. No, you know what? This takes me back to another time, right? This wasn't this particular day, but okay, yeah. Well, yeah, let's kind of take it back. We had another resident that was like having a crisis situation, and he like he didn't go off campus, but he stepped out of his house, and so we had to come and talk to him. And then this particular staff started playing some game with him, like where he wanted to guess the next car that was coming down the road, kind of like diverting his attention. Now, I know I digress with that story, but I'm saying it for a purpose, right? So this same staff, the one that diverted the attention, right? He's very skilled in that, right? Kind of like jiu-jitsu, right? So he's diverting. So now I'm in. All right. So now flash forward to the current situation. So we're in the dorm, and the next thing I know, they just start singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I'm like, I actually, once I realized what they were singing, I had to like come to the realization, like, hey, it's like 91 degrees outside, like, it's nowhere near December, so what's really going on? So then I thought back to the part where the guy was diverting the kid's attention, right? So I'm like, okay, all right, that seems pretty cool. So the kid actually starts singing along, right? So maybe his mind is kind of off the crisis as much, right? So I'm like, okay, all right, things are going pretty decent now. He's kind of coming down from his crisis situation. But one thing that stuck out about this kid was like, he just had on these like really short shorts and this like really long button-up shirt, and he's just like a real thin person, so he's just like walking around all aggressively. But I'm just like, I don't know, he looked just kind of funny or silly or whatever. I don't know, that's just kind of something that just stuck out in my mind. So like I said, it was about time for me to get off work. I'm very professional, but hey, when it's time to go, it's time to go, right? No, but in all seriousness, if there's a staff support, a serious staff support, really you're supposed to be able to support until the crisis situation is managed or calmed down, right? So he eventually calmed down. Well, they didn't actually end the staff support, but I just kind of asked, like, do you guys still need me? And they said, no, you're fine. So I was like, oh goodness, thank God, right? I get to go home. I think it was a Friday too, right? I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but yeah, I was ready to go. But the crazy thing about this story is, did I come into work? I think I came into work the very next day. I showed up, and this house normally has 9 kids, right? So I'm just in the house for literally like 3 hours, and then I started to wonder, like, why are they only 8 kids now? I thought we had 9, right? So I was just gonna ask out loud, but then I was just kind of just trying to figure it out on my own, and literally, like, no doubt, maybe 3 hours in, I start to realize, hey, where's the autistic kid? I can't say his name because, confidentiality. And they was like, oh yeah, he had another staff support last night, and so the police just came and picked him up. And I was like, dang, man. Now, sometimes they'll send kids back if there's too much of a threat or too much of a risk. But I've never liked seeing kids go back to jail because, a lot of them are just dealing with a lot of stuff and they just don't know how to handle it. So it just comes out in their behavior and their actions. So it was kind of sad that he left. But I mean, I think it was the right call because maybe we just didn't have enough. Maybe we just didn't have what he needed, to help him, man. So I'm hoping that he's getting help right now. But that's pretty much how that Friday went. I got a lot more videos for you guys. So continue to tune in. I appreciate you guys looking at and listening to my video. I got a lot more coming, but as always, this is One Oak, and I am out. See you next time.